One of the first things that a tool and die apprentice needs, and one of the most widely used tools throughout your career, is going to be two items: 1, 2, 3 blocks and parallels. Now, most shop-made tools are, whoo, you hear that loud bang? That was walnuts hitting my tin roof. Most shop-made tools are made out of mild steel and hardened and carburized, or carburized and hardened. And the reason for that is because, first of all, it's pretty inexpensive steel, and second of all, you get a super hard case with a soft core, so you get a little bit of ductility with the wear characteristics on the surface of the hard case. And in fact, carburized and hardened brings the surface up to probably in a neighborhood of 70 Rockwell. It's almost file hard. But this has been proven over the test of time to be real satisfactory for shop-made tools. And so, like I say, that's one of the first things that an apprentice would make, and one of the reasons for that too is you can't hardly go wrong on these things. You're not really trying to hit a certain dimension. Like a 1, 2, 3 blocks are not exactly ground to exactly one inch, 0.0000. I mean, you know, all they have to be is parallel and square. And in the case of the parallels, they only need to be parallel. So anyway, these are some of the first things that I made back in the 60s. I started my apprenticeship in 1964. But what I really wanted to talk about here is I found a need back then for 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 blocks, and I have 6 of these. I only made 4 of these. A lot of guys would make 6, but I only made 4 1, 2, 3 blocks. But I have 6 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 blocks. And what they're valuable for, and what I used them for, is for making nests. Well, you can use them as parallels or support blocks or whatever, but also I use them for making nests on a mill table or a jig bore table or whatever you have, maybe a jig grinder, or could be a boring mill. But I only have 3 holes in these. 1, 2, 3 holes. And these are 17/32, which is a clearance drill for 1/2 inch. So if I wanted to make a nest for doing multiples of something where I just want to put the piece right into the nest and clamp it down, what I would do is I would set 3 of these up, and I'd indicate them parallel. And this block here, you know, basically you could even use the corner of it, and your piece would nest right in there like that. So these have a counter bore for a 1/2 inch cap screw, socket head cap screw, and so you would mount these on the table, use a couple of parallels, and then you could slide your piece right in here, and you could strap clamp it across the top if you wanted to strap clamp it, or if you just wanted to spot a center drill, you could just slap it in there and spot it right in there. So those are my 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 blocks, and I have my initials stamped in them. For some reason I didn't put a date in them, and that's pretty unusual because just about all my tools have a date stamped in them, and that's usually most toolmaker made tools have a date stamped in them. I don't know why, it's just tradition, I guess. So let's say you had multiple copies of this piece here. You would just put that in there like so, let it nest. You've already picked up these edges, you know where you're at, and so you would just put your piece in here, like so, strap clamp it down, and then you can spot your holes. You can go through your chart and do all your holes, center drill them and drill them later on a drill press, or go ahead and finish them right out right there. And with the counter bore in there for 1/2 inch socket head cap screw, you know, you have a flush surface plane here, so nothing gets in your way. You didn't really want to end up with 1,000 pounds worth of tools, because tool makers back in those days were somewhat mobile. You know, if you could get 50 cents an hour more down the road, you know, you told the boss, and if he didn't come through for you, you packed your tools and down the road you went. That was real common back in the Midwest. Can't speak for other regions in the country, but that's the way it was for our region. So you may find it valuable to make yourself a set of these. If you have a surface grinder and a source for hardening, I would recommend that you get them hardened, because as you're setting them up, without having them hard, you're going to get a ding here and there, and that's going to affect your accuracy if you don't catch it. In using any of these kind of tools that are self-made in your setups, you know, a tool maker will usually carry a hone, and the last thing before you set it down, you wipe it with your hone, and you can, with a hone stone, you can feel a burr, and then you can focus on taking that burr off. But it's just a check. You just wipe your stone across there. If it feels good, you've already got your table lightly stoned, and you set it on there, and accuracy shouldn't be an issue. Now here's another feature of the 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 blocks. If you're using the block to support the butt into your clamp in a setup, and you need a way to fine-tune your height, these are made to operate like so. I'll let the stud stick out a little bit here to kind of support it, and then I put the other nut on like so. And then you have a little bit of adjustment here for height to fine tune so that your clamp is striking your workpiece in the right manner. So what I'm talking about is your strap clamp. It'll be like so. So you can see the possibilities there. So this is my parallel set. I have one that's a work in progress. I've never finished these for some reason. Maybe I will someday. I'll have to get them hardened and ground, and I have the surface grinder now. So there's 5 sets here when this one is done. They're in 1/4 inch increments, starting with 3/4, 1 inch, 1 1/4, and 1 1/2, and 1 3/4. And with these increments, you can stack up just about where you want with most mill vices to get the clamping depth that you wish. And of course they're used for many more things too. These are mild steel, hardened and ground. And when I say hardened and ground, you know, they're carburized and hardened. And if you don't have them, you know, that's a must-have. You can buy them real cheaply out of the catalogs today. But I don't like those little weeny parallels that tip over on you all the time. And if you notice, mine are kind of made like a bridge, or like a bridge beam. And for strength, you know, they have radiuses in the corners here. So I have a mill cutter that has a radius ground on the edge. So that's my parallels.